Basically, marketing is really run by exco and the rest of the station managers. Because we run a radio station, we think that all our touch points are a chance to let our brand be out there. So the responsibility from implementation is through the brand activation manager and the COO. But everybody has sort of our brand print in mind wherever we go or whatever we do. We've always operated with a very small structure. We started with one radio station, and now we have four, two in the Western Cape and two in Gauteng. And we find that it works very well when it's a small structure and a flat structure. And that's why we don't have a CMO. Like I say, we're sort of a marketing hub, because if you see what we do, every day we're a 24-hour service. We broadcast to millions of people, and so we just want to make sure that sort of marketing and getting out there from a brand print perspective is on everybody's dashboard. So we find it works for us. We also have a very small exco team, so there are 4 of us, and we're responsible for very many functions. I think it's a flat structure. We have an exco and a manco and a senior management. Our brand activation manager is at the manco level and the COO at the exco level. We live our strategy constantly, but when it's strat sessions, we all sit around together and we look at our strategic imperatives for the year. Then we come up with, each of our stations are very unique, and the program manager and the station manager really knows what type of listener they are trying to attract, and I'm talking about the listener, the audience now, which is why they have to be really involved in the brand print and what is marketed out there. So we all sit around the table, the station managers, the exco, the brand activations manager, and we look at the strategy for the station for the next year. From there, we see what are we going to do from a brand activation or a marketing perspective. And it could range from, touch points like we're going to do an outside broadcast, which is a very programming strategy kind of thing, but it's also an opportunity to market. Or we could use social media, or we could decide, if we're going with one of our talents, because we use our talent very much to market ourselves as well. So it's very involved from each touch point, from each discipline. The marketing strategy. It's not just a silo effect, and we find that by breaking down all those silos and working interdependently, it actually gives us more value at the end of the day. The listener profile has changed. So if you look at who we market to our listeners, so we broadcast out there, and then we also market to trade. Because we sell B2B, and then we have to attract audience. So two very different types of people, if I could say. Listener profile changes, as well as the trade profile, and I think the challenge is always to know, to be out there, know what they want, and know where to push the boundaries. I mean, I use an example. I always say digital has changed the world we live in. It's also changed how we speak to our audience. Yes, predominantly through the radio, but all those other touch points, the social medias, the YouTubes of the world, we need to understand that. And I think that's always a challenge. How much or how little should we be marketing out there on those platforms?